Hello, this is Nora from Noggin Comics. And I am coming at you with my top 10 comics of 2025. So first off, we're going to start with some honorable mentions in no particular order. They just didn't make the list, but we're still really good. So I'm going to start with, and this is on, I believe, number 4 currently. But Everything Dead and Dying from Image Comics, written by Tate Bromball and art by Sean Phillips. I'm sorry, Jacob Phillips, who is related to Sean Phillips. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of anything with zombies is great, obviously. But it just kind of reminds me of like Walking Dead and just uh, yeah, the artwork is just so good and things just get bonkers really quickly. So if you like zombies, if you like, there's some family drama in there too, and just craziness, definitely read it. All right, next honorable mention. The issue number 3 just came out, so I have issue 1 here. Oops. Marion Heretic from Boom Comics. Written by Teeny Howard, art by Jose Jaro. I hope I'm saying that right. Jose Jaro. Yeah, this is 3 issues in. Like I said, it's just I really like Teeny Howard and what she's doing with this story, and the artwork by Jaro is really good. Basically, it's like a horror comic that's blending religious horror elements, um, like heresy within things, and there's even like heavy metal themes that I'm picking up on too. All while she's trying to enforce the order in her church, but also finding herself, and who she represents and who she is. So yeah, it's really good. It's only on issue 3. I believe it's an ongoing. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely read this book. All right. And this one went, I believe, just 4 issues, oversized books. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, but I think I sat down and read all of them back to back, which may have helped. This is Post Malone's Big Rig from Vault Comics. Yeah, it's just like reminds me of Mad Max Fury Road. It's just like kind of like balls to the wall craziness, like escaping demons in hell, and this guy who is an ex-priest is like driving this big rig and just going crazy, killing demons and stuff. It's just so good. They were oversized issues that came out, so they were a little pricier, but definitely worth it. And then my last honorable mention, I read both of these back to back, issues 1 and 2, and there was a huge gap in between issue 1 and 2. So that's kind of why I was like, I'm gonna read these together. One of my favorite authors, James Tynion, and I believe it's Elsa Chartier. So issues 1 and issue 2, The City Beneath Her Feet from Distillery. Yeah, I love James Tynion, and Elsa's artwork is very good. She also did a series called November in graphic novel form from Image Comics. That's very good. Nothing on this list is really uplifting, by the way. But this is kind of like a love story where she's also, hiding from her past assassins. Just, yeah, it's very good. Very quick. Like, I already want more. So that wraps up my honorable mentions. Now I'm going to I'm going to go from 10 to 1. So I'm going to start with a mini series that started and ended in 2025 from Image Comics. And it is I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer from Doug Wagner and Daniel Hilliard. This team has done other series as well. Earlier in 2025, I read Plush, which I didn't. It was good, but I didn't love it as much as other stuff like Plastic and Vinyl. But I was a fashion school serial killer. All of his stuff is gory and dark. But I felt like this miniseries was a little bit more not as bonkers off the wall. But yeah, it's really good. The main character is basically just trying to be normal, but fighting back her murderous rampage. Um, and all while she's like trying to be a fashion school student. So yeah, I mean it's just 5 issues. It's pretty quick, but I thought it was pretty good. So next at number 9, I have a few variants here. One I like more than the other, but so I've never read, and this is my only Marvel comic on this list, but I've never read a Fantastic Four series since now. So this is one of my favorite covers so far. Issue 5, and then issue 6 of J. Scott Campbell, who I'm just not a fan of, but this cover is okay as Malice. But anyway, we have Ryan North writing it with Humberto Ramos on the art, which he's just amazing as usual. But like I said, yeah, this is the first Fantastic Four series I've read. And it's really good. The way Ryan North is writing it is just very like, I want more. Then he's gonna hopefully, give us some more Sue Storm background. But yeah, I'm really liking his approach to this series, and I just want to keep reading more. So that's basically what I have for that. Alright, next is a DC title. And this I believe is the most recent issue. So this series has been going on since 2022. It was only supposed to be, I believe, 6 or 12 issues, and it's basically almost on issue 40. And that is Poison Ivy. This is issue 39. But G. Willow Wilson and Marcio Takara, they've just been still going at this series, and I don't think there's really been a bad title. We just recently got the annual, which gave more backstory, and that was very well done. Yeah, it's just Poison Ivy is one of my favorite DC characters, her and Harley Quinn. So just to have this series still be this popular and still going strong is great, and I never want it to end. But G. Willow Wilson is also writing for Marvel Black Cat, which is very good. And I don't really read much Black Cat, so if you haven't checked that out, also check that out. But Poison Ivy continues to be great. Alright, next up I have 2 comics from Image. That are basically in the same world of Ghost Machine. So first we're going to start with Redcoat. This is just one of the covers that I can find. Number 15, which I think is just a cool cover. Yeah, Simon Pure is the main character. This is from Jeff Johns, Brian Hitch, Andrew Curie, Brad Anderson, Rob Lee. Yeah, it's just every issue of this is great. Like there's been there hasn't been a bad issue, and it's still going, and every issue you're like, okay, what's coming next? And there are things that are kind of unraveling more as you get into the other Ghost Machine books that you're kind of picking up on, which is really cool. It's all starting to kind of come together. I think some of my favorites so far from Redcoat have been when he met Albert Einstein when he was younger. And then he just kind of resurfaced a little bit more too. But Redcoat is going to be adapted as well. So if you haven't read it, definitely pick it up. It's great. It will, even if you have reservations on it, don't. Just read it. And then another Ghost Machine book is Geiger, which has came back in 2025 for its second arc. And I was really glad it did. At first, when I started reading Geiger, I wasn't super into it. I was like, okay, this is kind of... But now I'm like, okay, this is great. Like, the artwork, Gary Frank is great. Another title by Jeff Johns. He's spearheading, obviously, the majority of the Ghost Machine series. Yeah, it has not let up. Now they're bringing in newer characters like the glowing woman. Yeah, it's just very readable, very, like, just you want to read more. Like, every issue ends on a cliffhanger, and you're like, come on. Same with Redcoat. So, that was my 7th and 6th pick. So, 7th was Redcoat, 6th was Geiger. At number 5... we have a book from Image Comics by one of my favorite non-uplifting authors, and that is Rick Remender. So this is Escape. This was just the most recent issue, number 5, that came out. Yeah, Rick Remender and Daniel Acuna, and Daniel's artwork is just amazing. It almost, like, I've read a little bit of... I'm trying to think of what I've read from him before, but something that makes me think of is Black Sad, just because there's not it's animals, like there's, yeah, like that's what it made me think of. I was like, oh, Black Sad. I'm like, no, but yes, I'm not a target for like reading war epic saga stories, stories that take place during wartime, but this really is so good. Also, if you're not reading Sacrificers by Rick Remender, read it. That is very good. Deadly Class is one of my favorite stories by him as well. But back to Escape. I'm all over the place, sorry. Yeah, Rick Remender is great. Daniel Acuna, it's just the way that they write and tell the story together is just seamless. So great. Rick Remender said in one of the back... where people write in their comments, I think he was saying something about how he wanted to tell story about like stories he heard from his grandfather, but he never really got to flesh out those stories with him before I think he had passed. So he wanted to write a story like this story about that era of his grandfather's life through the lenses of, like, that's why he chose animals to tell it through, like, as human, but not. If that makes sense. But once I read that, I was like, that's really awesome, and it hits hard. It's even better to read through knowing that story. So that was number 5. Number 4, going back to DC here for the rest of my picks. So at number 4, it was, I believe, a 5-issue miniseries. It was Crypto, The Last Dog of Krypton, written by Ryan North, as well as drawn by Mike Norton. And the art in this is so great. I have not read anything else that was written by Mike Norton before. I know he's really a great artist, but speaking of another not very uplifting story, but I thought it was good for what it was. Ryan North is a great writer, but the artwork really told the story with this. So it's basically, what if Crypto was the one who came to Earth instead of Superman, and then it kind of just goes through his journeys through the fall, spring, summer, winter in that season of his life. And yeah, it's just really well done. I think it was pretty well received as well. So definitely pick up the collection of this and read it through. I think it would go well in that format. Not that it wasn't good in the singles, obviously, because it's in my top 10, but yeah, I want to almost sit down and reread all of them back to back again, because it would probably be that much better having them all at once. So, with that, we'll go into my number 3, which is still DC. And I just have one issue of it here handy to show you. But it was 12 issues, spanned the whole year. It was Batman and Robin, year 1. And this is just a great Clayface cover. Written by Mark Waid and Chris Samney, who Chris Samney's artwork was great on this. I never thought I would like his artwork in Batman, but it really helped with just the storyline in general. Yeah, but each issue kind of ended on a cliffhanger where you're like, I want to keep reading more. And I just noted down here that it was like Damian was growing up with Bruce, right? But also Bruce was growing up with Damian. Like, he was trying to father and mentor him at the same time. There's some struggles there. But the whole story was just told really beautifully, mainly through Chris Samney's artwork. And I want more. I think this Batman and Robin Year 1 title could potentially be like classified as up there with the Batman titles. So yeah, definitely pick up these 12 issues to read. I think it will become like a Batman title to read for sure. And my last 2, so at number 2, it was hard for me to kind of delineate between 2 and 1. They're in the same universe, and they're both very popular. But at number 2, I have Absolute Batman. Just have a few covers here. Like this, the annual was just so good. Like, man. And then, his rendition of Joker, which we've all obviously probably seen and read. So yeah, Scott Snyder, along with Nick Dragotta, who I've loved Nick Dragotta since East of West, which I didn't read as it was coming out, but I have like the collected hardcover editions of. And yeah, Nick Dragotta's artwork is just chef's kiss, like so good with Batman. I didn't think it would be. I was like, "Ooh, Nick Dragotta's so good. Will it work?" And it does. And yeah, this just does not let up steam. We've had 16, I believe, issues so far, an annual. And then the Arc M special is coming out. Yeah, it's gritty, it's dark, it's just so good. And there were a few issues, kind of, I believe, maybe like issue 4 or 5, where it was almost a little rocky, but then once Bane came on, it was just like wow, like yes. It picked back up at steam, and then with Joker coming in, and now Poison Ivy eventually will be here soon. And then the Absolute Batman annual title alone was just, anyone could read that title and be like, okay, yes, I want more. So if you have not read Absolute Batman already, do so. And then the last one at number 1 is another Absolute title, and that is Absolute Wonder Woman. I love Diana. I love Wonder Woman. Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman. Hayden Sherman's artwork, so good. And Kelly Thompson's she's amazing. And Diana in Hell, like, it's just everything upside down from what you know her with her story. And she does such a good job from the start. Just like, she's obviously a badass. She's had just different origin than what we know, but it's just so good. Yeah, I think Kelly Thompson deserves all the awards for this, and Hayden Sherman, honestly. So, yeah, I'm just excited to keep seeing where this goes. I'm glad we got more than 5-6 issues of it. And now, the tie-ins with Batman coming in, and they're crossing over, and I'm sure with Superman and maybe even Martian Manhunter, they can all have a absolute world. But I think their titles on their own are just so good as well. And it was such a treat for DC this year. honestly. Their titles were a bit more stronger than Marvel. There were a lot of good indies as well. A lot of good indies I didn't have on my list that are still very good from this year. Like Grimm ended, and that is being adapted as well, from Boom Studios. And there's a lot of good stuff that's coming out 2026 as well. One of the ones that I'm looking the most forward to for 2026 is from Marvel, and that is Daredevil. And Stephanie Phillips writing Daredevil. Like, yes, like she is on fire with everything she's writing, and I think having a woman come on to write that is gonna be great, and she deserves everything for that. Anyway, so that's a wrap on my top 10 from 2025. And next will be Kyle's top 10. We're doing them separate. I'm sure he'll talk a lot more, and our lists are definitely different. So, yeah. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you read some good books in 2025 as well. And we'll see what 2026 has to bring. Bye.